This special edition of Screwtape Saturday combines 5 episodes that were previously released. Democracy isn't mentioned in the original letters, but Screwtape references it over 24 times in his follow-up toast essay. The first comment is just before the middle of his address when he remarks the perfect democracy is where only the state religion is permitted. Screwtape admits that democracy is properly the name of a political system, even a system of voting, but it is important that the word is never given a clear and definable meaning. Screwtape is even so bold to proclaim that tempters are merely using the word purely as an incantation to get humans to do things that, if undefended by the magic word, would be universally derided. More on democracy next time. Meanwhile, check out this fact about the Screwtape letters and visit the screwtapecompanion.com for a free sample of my study guide. Previously, it was noted democracy is only mentioned in the toast essay Lewis wrote years after the letters. Screwtape underscores that democracy is associated with the political idea that men should be equally treated, and this can be transformed into a belief that all men are equal. This leads to resentment of every kind of superiority in others, and that every mere difference is a claim of superiority. Thus, others have no business to be different. It's undemocratic. This results in a push to pull down everyone else to their own level, which leads to the discrediting and finally the elimination of every kind of human excellence. Screwtape also reveals how that mindset can work itself into the educational system. Check out this fact about the Screwtape letters and visit screwtapecompanion.com for a free sample of my study guide. Despair is mentioned several times in the Screwtape letters, but the first key instant is in the 9th letter when Screwtape explores how to advise Wormwood depending on whether his patient is, quote, of the desponding type or of the wishful thinking type, close quote. In letter 28, it is called quiet despair when Wormwood is told to make sure his patient has a long life. Then, in the 29th letter, despair is mentioned as an emotion that can be produced by aggravating shame. Here, Wormwood is informed that, quote, despair is a greater sin than any of the sins which provoke it, close quote. Finally, despair is also mentioned in letter 30 and again in Screwtape Proposes a Toast essay. Check out this fact about the Screwtape letters and visit screwtapecompanion.com for a free sample of my study guide. Disappointment is first mentioned in the 2nd letter. This is what Screwtape notes the patient will experience, quote, during his first few weeks as a churchman, close quote. Wormwood is told that the enemy, that is God, permits disappointment as a means for a person to grow. Disappointment is then brought up in the 15th letter about the patient being untroubled about the future. The patient might feel this way because he has false hopes about it, and this will result in a letdown. 2 letters later, Screwtape describes the patient's mother's gluttony and how her lack of being satisfied leads to her daily disappointment, which results in others becoming angry at her. In my book, you'll find elsewhere disappointment is mentioned. Check out this fact about the Screwtape letters and visit screwtapecompanion.com for a free sample of my study guide. Distracting people is something the devils try to do quite frequently. Screwtape gives an example in the 1st letter as he reflected on his days as a tempter. He tells of distracting his patient with the idea of lunch, though the word itself is not used. The first time it appears is in a discussion on prayer in the 12th letter when Wormwood is reminded that his patient is currently almost begging you to distract his purpose and benumb his heart. Later, in letter 23, Screwtape recommends the tactic to distract men's minds from who Jesus is and what he did. Then, in the 25th, he mentions the use of fashions to keep people's attention from more important matters. Finally, see my book about when distraction is mentioned another time. Check out this fact about the Screwtape letters and visit screwtapecompanion.com for a free sample of my study guide.